Trax is sponsored by Polaris, think outside. Can-Am, time for some off-road living. And by Yamaha, revs your heart.
Last season we talked about the importance of weight distribution and sway control hitches on your recreational travel trailers. But there's another area that's equally important that we didn't get a chance to talk about that I think you'll be interested to hear. No matter if you tow your large float-style trailer with a 1500, 2500, or even 3500 series truck, weight distribution and sway control are still something to be considered and taken seriously, because we all know what it feels like when the tail wags the dog. There's nothing fun about that at 60 miles per hour, fully loaded on the highway. Whether it's passing a transport truck, heavy side winds, or even needing to swerve quickly for debris on the road or a distracted driver, sway can be the end of your day in a real hurry. While there are many different sway and weight distribution options available, the one that I'm showing you today is called SwayPro from Blue Ox, and it's unique in many different ways. The first and most important feature of this hitch system is that it does weight distribution and sway control all in one, so you don't have to add those friction sway controls afterwards that add on to your hitch. Secondly, SwayPro will grow with your needs. You can purchase the SwayPro with torsion arms built for tongue weight from 350 all the way up to 2,000 pounds, and interchange those arms with the same head. Just because your trailer is loaded up today with two side-by-sides at 4,000 pounds doesn't mean that you're going to need a complete new system when you load up a 10,000 pound skid steer. You could even have multiple trailers set up with clamp-on brackets to make your SwayPro work on all of them and only require one head to tow them all. Blue Ox offers a wide variety of replacement and accessory parts so that you can get your towing job done. The SwayPro is available both in 2 and 2.5 inch hitch receivers. It also comes with many different sizes of rises and drops depending on what you need for your lifted truck or your lower SUV, and it'll allow you to tow up to a combined total of a 20,000 pound trailer with the load on. The system is really easy to install. With the clamp brackets mounted, and for this task our 1,000 pound tongue weight torsion bars placed onto the head unit, we simply count off the links we require and place the chain into the rotating latch. With the large leverage bar on the socket mount, we rotate and the automatic lock pins pop in, telling us we have accomplished the setup. Repeat these steps on the opposite side and that is it. You're ready to head down the road, weight distributed evenly with sway control protection. The smartly designed head unit actually utilizes caster angle to force the trailer to stay in line with the truck that's towing it. It's simple and it works really well. Whether you're towing a load of side-by-sides or a heavy piece of construction equipment, SwayPro is constantly on the job. Unlike friction-type sway controls, SwayPro is not affected by water, nor does it create the terrible sounds that traditional sway control bars produce when wet. It only leads to distraction and others around you wondering if something's broken on your truck or trailer. The SwayPro system is silent, making your towing experience more enjoyable. While many times we rely on the size of our towing truck to account for the weight of the trailer, it will never account for sway. With the cost of construction equipment as well as toys alike, don't you always want to ensure that both your trailer, equipment, truck, and those within it are as safe as possible?
Dirt Trax is sponsored by MBRP Performance Exhaust, built for the victory lap.
It's no surprise that the Defender 6x6 is widely accepted as the ultimate utility vehicle, and with those massive capacities come massive expectations. We've had our 6x6 for 2 years now, and we thought why not give it a little facelift and help increase an already hugely capable vehicle into the ultimate 6x6. No, we're not going to chop or cut this thing up, and no, I don't want to jam 6 portals on it or add a lift kit. I want to make it just as fun as it currently is, but increase the functionality, look, and workability. I also don't want to take an already premium priced vehicle and price it out of this world for those of you who are considering something like this on your own 6x6. So using Kimpex's user-friendly website and massive dealer network means that I can get all of my parts quick and easy, and so can you. So right up front, I've got to address the wheels and tires. On a typical side-by-side, you really only have to be concerned about the bodywork and clearance to it. But with the Defender 6x6, we have a full second set of wheels to contend with, and therein lies our problem. Pretty much, we just don't want our rear tires to touch each other. That'll cause real issues quick. The stock tires on the 6x are 27 inches, and we can handily go to a 29 without having too much concern, as each tire is only moving 1 inch closer to the other. And we have some good space between them. The tires we chose are the Trail Troopers from Kimpex at 29 inches by 9 inches wide. And yes, we did go for a square, Or actually, I guess I should say rectangular tire setup. And I pretty much can't believe that I just referenced a rectangle tire setup. The Trail Trooper tires are beefy with a really good grip on the tread in no matter what the circumstances are that you're driving them in. I've used them in the past, I've really enjoyed them, and I think they're going to be right at home here on the 6x. Now we could have popped the tires back on the stock rims, but 2 years of abuse on this rig has left our stock rims, yeah, pretty haggard. So a new 6-pack of ITP Hurricane 14-inch aluminum rims with lifetime warranty built right in fits the bill just right. They're also a little more offset at 5+2, so they're going to stick out just a slight bit more than stock, which I don't mind at all, both for stability and, well, let's be honest, overall good looks. Now, while we're on the topic of good looks, I need to address the mesh doors. I do understand the reason that they're there, but I like an aluminum door much better, both for style and safety. These SuperATV pre-assembled aluminum powder-coated doors are one of the best answers out there to seal up the side openings of your Defender and give you that more rugged and aggressive look. Plus, I don't know anyone who doesn't like the security of an all-aluminum panel to keep sticks and debris from entering through the side of the cab opening. These doors use a multi-bend design to add style and feature 2 fixed mounts on the heavy-duty exterior frame, as well as an automotive-type latch to keep the doors secure when riding and easy to operate for years to come. Along with the doors from SuperATV, we also opted for a Winch-Ready front steel bumper. It's going to protect the front end of the Defender when the terrain gets abusive, and around dirt tracks, the terrain does get abusive. Made from 1/8 inch steel, this bumper is big and rugged and has box-style wings that run out and under the factory headlights. It also features a center tube-style stinger bar to protect the hood and winch and allows for a perfect spot to mount lights with protection. The bumper comes with 2 threaded-on D-rings and mounts so that you can give a pull when needed or tie something off to the front end of your Defender, and the bumper allows for seamless integration of your winch as well. And a winch we have, a 5,500-pound winch to be exact, because with the payload capacity and the workability of the 6x, we need a really big winch. The Warn Axion 5500 is a beast to be reckoned with, and features a new clutch design that's based off the Warn locking 4-wheel drive hub systems that we all know. With 50 feet of rugged steel 1/4-inch cable, you've got lots to work with. And with Warn's unique Motactor, they combine the winch contactor and the motor into one unit, so no need to find a spot to locate the contactor anymore. This is the way all winches should be made. It makes the install super easy with just the need for 2 battery terminals to be connected and the wired remote base to be mounted. The metal 3-stage planetary gears are rugged and reliable and put all that 5,500 pounds of potential to work when you use the digital handheld wired remote. This winch is not to be messed with and will give you years of reliable performance, and it's got a fully sealed IP68 waterproof rating and a 3-year warranty. Warn is a winch that you can trust. When you're out on the trail, lighting is always super important, and when you've got a vehicle like the 6x that's got so much capabilities, you're liable to be out on the trail after dark, and a little bit extra light is something that you will never turn down. I grabbed up this 9-inch Kympex Spotlight. It's kind of a mini LED light bar, and it pumps out 6K color temp light for over 50,000 hours, so your lights will still run long after your Defender doesn't. Like our Warn winch, this is IP68 waterproof and comes in an aluminum thinned housing to dissipate heat. The lens material is scratch resistant, and the single center mount will allow us to angle the light as desired, unlike end mount light bars that are fixed once installed. A nice illuminated switch mounts up easily to the waterproof plug and gives me a massive amount of light for a very reasonable cost and easy install. I'd say we've seriously updated the look of our fairly plain Defender and added some serious potential. Now the only thing left to do is for me to go out and play with all this cool gear.
Dirt Trax is sponsored by Princess Auto. Make it work.
Now that I've got our Defender out here in the forest, I can actually see what all of this gear that Kimpex has supplied us with is truly made out of. But make sure you stay tuned because I've got an extra piece at the end that you don't know about, and let me tell you, it's a game changer. Right off the bat, I can tell you that these 6 ITP Hurricane rims wrapped in Kimpex Trail Trooper 29-inch tires are way better at grabbing the earth. They hook up great, and while the extra 1 inch of ground clearance really isn't all that much, it's also nothing to turn away from, as any extra clearance is a huge help. The SuperATV Doors might be the biggest felt difference to the driver, as it makes you feel way more secure inside the cab. And when driving through the brush and tighter gnarly trails, you don't get twigs and sticks poking in through the mesh as we once did. Now as for the front bumper, it's something that we really hope that we don't have to put to use, but out here on the trail it's inevitable that we're going to be pushing back tree limbs or bumping into objects. Having that big beefy front bumper with the added D-rings for pulling as well as the light bar are always a huge help. And give me the assurance that at resale time, the front of this rig will still look good even if the bumper is taking a beating. Now down below the bumper is our Warn 5,500 pound winch that we also don't want to forget about. because out in the back 40, you can find some serious places to get yourself stuck. The impressive pulling power of the 5,500 pound Axion winch is legendary. I mean, I'm used to a 4,500 pound winch being the big gun, and this thing puts that and all others to shame. And the fact that the motor and contactor are all in one made the install super simple, if you remember. The plug-in remote is handy if you need to get outside the cab when pulling, and the interior toggle switch is also likewise easy to use from inside the cab. Now, winching forwards isn't a problem with the 5,500 pound Axion, but say you get yourself deep out into the forest or maybe the swamp, sometimes a forwards pull ain't what you need. Some folks choose to use a multi-location winch on their side-by-side that plugs into a 2-inch hitch receiver, but they're typically found underwater when you need them the most, and that can make access near impossible at times. That's where this beauty from Portable Winch Co. comes into play. This right here is a PCW 4000, and it might just be the most versatile winch ever made. It's light at only 12 kilograms, it's powerful at 1,000 kilogram single line or 2,000 kilogram double line pulling force, and it's gas powered so you can use it anywhere. Summer, winter, doesn't matter when. It'll do more jobs than you might have ever thought possible by a winch. I know that I've been in many situations where I've gone in too far, been way too ambitious, and just literally cannot get back out. That problem is no more. Most times it's out in the bush with a fallen tree that we encounter, or being in the swamp where it's just so deep that it becomes a trap. The PCW 4000 uses a very cool centrifugal clutch hooked to the Honda GX50 4-stroke engine that's also able to be used at any angle, no matter how extreme your pull becomes. When you get your tow object strapped up, all you have to do is wrap the rope around the drum a few times and then slip the rope through the anti-rollback mechanism, or the ARM, which is sort of the throttle for the winch. As soon as you pull on the rope, the clutch recognizes that you want power and it starts to pull. When you release pressure on the rope, the arm holds the object from slipping back and holds the load in position, allowing the engine to idle back down. It's absolutely simple and perfect in function. Both the versatility and build quality of Portable Winch products is very high. They have multiple kits available with all kinds of different accessories, and they even have an electric option. The beauty of the Portable Winch brand is that you can put this winch in the box of your truck, the box of your side-by-side, or even strap it to the tunnel of your snowmobile, and it'll come through each and every time. So this is the PCW from Portable Winch, and I'm gonna give you a bit of a walkthrough of how it works. Super easy. You take your rope, you feed it through this guide here, you take it around the bale, you go once, twice, 3 times, and then you go up. And what's cool is you can see how it slips around the actual drum here. It comes up, goes around through this little kind of guide, and then these here, this is the special feature that keeps it from backing off and walking away from you. If you're, say, pulling something like a wheeled vehicle like this Defender, and you're pulling uphill, if you didn't have this special lock here that when you pull up and through, you see the cable actually gets pulled in here. If you didn't have this feature, then the cable would be able to go backwards and you would lose whatever you're pulling and it would run away from you down a hill. But this is a nice feature that just keeps that from happening. So after you get it up top, you pull your cable over the top. This is the throttle right here. You can see it's connected to the throttle cable, super simple. And when you pull on that, what does it do? It pulls the throttle. You would think that you could modulate that, and I guess you can a little bit, but when this is hooked up to a tree and it's winding around, pretty much you just use the winch at wide open throttle. You pull on it, and your tension on this rope will actually help in dragging the item that you're pulling, which is something interesting I found when I was pulling the Defender. And when you're pulling a tree, the harder you pull on the rope, this almost acts as an extension of yourself. So if you just pull lightly, sometimes it's not moving. If you give a wrap around your hand and give it a nice yank, it'll actually do more work. So yeah, it's kind of interesting how that works. But you're pulling it around this bale as it's continually pulling on the rope. You can always go ahead and double up the rope, which will give you double the pull strength. You do that with a pulley system. Super easy to set up. You just have to have a little bit more rope for it. So we're going to go ahead and pull this tree and show you how that works with the actual dome that goes around the end of base of the tree that we're pulling. It doesn't actually dig into the ground. It just keeps sliding along the earth and over top of stuff. It's a pretty cool system. But the PCW 4000 is an absolute beast. Super easy. It's smart. It's a 4-stroke. It runs forever on a tank of fuel. It's a great product. When we want to take our Go Just About Anywhere Defender out and have some fun, we want to make sure that we get back at the end of the day. And with all of the parts that we've installed, along with the Portable Winch product, we're going to ensure that we can come back for another day's fun, no matter how hard the trail gets. The term blow off some steam comes from the early days of the railroads, when steam-powered engines had no safety valves and the conductor would have to pull a lever to let off excess pressure to prevent an explosion. It's interesting how accurate this term is in how we use it today. Normal frustrations we experience every day begin to create a pressure inside us over time. This pressure can build up until almost involuntarily you explode, unless, of course, you've found a way to blow off some steam on a regular basis. And there are countless different ways. For you, it could be working out or cooking, doing yoga, or playing video games. For me, it's a little bit more exciting. Hitting the throttle on a 200 horsepower side-by-side and getting it fully sideways at 60 miles an hour requires laser-guided focus. You can't be distracted or thinking about anything other than the angle of the steering wheel, throttle inputs, the trail ahead of you, and what lies beyond each corner that's coming up extremely fast. Your mind must be completely clear and unclouded. This is, for me, like pulling that lever and venting off any frustrations or worries that may have been built up in my head. Of course, unlike yoga that just requires a pair of tight pants and a mat, my method of blowing off steam requires much more sophisticated machinery, like this Maverick Max XRS Turbo RR with Smart-Shox. Is this a new side-by-side? No, this is the same Maverick Max XRS we've come to know and love. The difference is that this one includes Can-Am's Smart-Shox active suspension. Does the Smart-Shox system make it feel different? Absolutely. Sometimes technology is just a distraction from our hard-earned moments of peace and happiness. The technology inside Can-Am's Smart-Shox system, though, is the complete opposite. It helps to remove distractions like bumps and body rolls so you can simply focus on driving really, really fast. Fox is supplying the shocks for the system in the form of 2.5 podium internal bypass piggyback units up front and 3.0 podium internal bypass remote reservoir units out back. Before we go any further, it needs to be understood that this isn't exactly the same technology we've seen elsewhere in the industry. There are a few things that set Can-Am's Smart-Shox system apart from its competition. The most noticeable of them all, in my opinion, is the fact that both compression and rebound settings are being constantly adjusted, up to 200 times per second. So what does this mean big picture? Well, if you ask anyone who knows anything about suspension, they'll tell you that while compression is a very important adjustment, if you want the absolute best ride quality, rebound is just as important. 9 sensors are sending data to a computer that decides what adjustments to make based on both the info from the sensors and which of the 3 user-selectable modes has been chosen. The 3 modes are Comfort, Sport, and Sport Plus, and they do pretty much exactly what you'd expect. Comfort prioritizes a plush ride, and I can honestly say I have never driven a side-by-side that rides as smooth as this one does when Comfort mode is selected. Cruising trails at medium speeds feels like floating on a marshmallow. You can feel the suspension collapse under you as you roll over hills and into valleys. Little bumps, rocks, roots. Simply put, you just don't feel them. What was interesting to note, though, in Comfort mode is that I could actually tell when the rebound was being adjusted. On smaller, sharper hits, the wheels rebounded fast, as you'd expect. But on the bigger rolling bumps and hills, the suspension rebounded very slow, which is what made it feel so pillowy soft. Sport mode gives you a good mix of and compromise between a plush ride, big bump control, and stable handling. If you like to ride fast, this is likely the setting you're going to choose most often. When speeds rose on the fire roads or when terrain got rougher, Sport mode did a great job of insulating the driver and my passengers from big hits, while also keeping the vehicle more level under hard cornering or braking. Rebound in this mode was generally faster. Sport Plus mode gives you maximum stability and big bump control for the most aggressive riding, but it does come at the expense of maximum smoothness. On fast fire roads or washes in the desert, this is the mode you'll want. Compression is definitely higher, which makes for a rougher ride, and rebound is decidedly faster to help keep the wheels in contact with the ground. But these settings are aggressively adjusted when cornering, accelerating, or braking to keep the vehicle almost entirely level at all times. Earlier I mentioned 200 horsepower, but I quickly skimmed over that spec because I wanted to get into talking about Smart-Shox. Now though, I'd like to take a second to ponder just how impressive that number really is. Many people don't know that for a vehicle to be classified as a side-by-side in most areas of North America, it can't have an engine that exceeds 1,000 cc's. Once that number is exceeded, it falls into a different classification with all kinds of different rules and regulations. This is why no one has simply released a 1,200 cc side-by-side. When you consider that the 3-cylinder Ace architecture engine Can-Am is using to power this Maverick only displaces 900 cc's, yet it creates 200 horsepower, that's just mind-boggling. To put it into perspective, the V8 engine found in the new Corvette C8 displaces 6.2 liters and produces 495 horsepower. If you do the math like I did, the Corvette makes 0.07 horsepower per cc. The Maverick, on the other hand, makes 0.22 horsepower per cc. That's over 3 times more. Is it fast? It's almost laughable how fast it actually is. This thing is a Maverick Max. It's big and heavy, yet all that power make it feel light and flickable. Angry doesn't even begin to describe how the power feels when you step on it from a standstill. The power is actually a bit shocking, and you really do have to be careful because you can end up going so much faster than you expected to when it comes time to corner. But this brings me right back to what I said in the beginning. We all need to get out of our own heads from time to time. We need to let go of life's distractions and clear our minds. We need to blow off steam on a regular basis. When I'm behind the wheel of this Maverick Max XRS Turbo RR with Smart-Shox, all that exists is me and the trail. All that matters is the correct application of throttle, brake, and steering, and the only thing I care about is getting perfectly set up for the next corner. My passenger, his heart is likely racing, but mine is calm and steady. He's probably rethinking his priorities in life, but I'm only thinking about what's around the next corner. Smart-Shox allows me to take all of this one step further by offering a dramatic increase in control, so I can push things harder and go faster than ever before. Are there other ways for people to blow off steam? Yeah, for sure there are. Are any of them anywhere near as fun and effective as this one? In my opinion, not a chance.
Dirt Trax has been sponsored by Hercules Tire, ride on our strength. Gemco Cargo Boxes, be prepared for anything. And by Mad Ramps, leave the trailer and go.